I'd like to share with you a few poems and reflections on the question of love. Love rests on no foundation. It is an endless ocean with no beginning or end. Imagine a suspended ocean riding on a cushion of ancient secret. All souls have drowned in it and now dwell there. One drop of that ocean is hope, and the rest is fear. From Rumi. And then he says, my heart is bursting with the joy of the unknown. My heart is expanding 1,000-fold. Every cell taking wings, flies about the world. All seek separately the many faces of my beloved. Love came and became like blood in my body. It rushed through my body and enriched my heart. Everywhere I looked, I saw one thing, the beloved's name within. My limbs, on my left palm, on my forehead, on the back of my neck, on my right big toe. Oh my friend, all that you see of me is just a shell, and the rest belongs to the beloved. Then again Rumi says, by day I praised you and never knew it. By night I stayed with you and never knew it. I always thought I was me, but no, I was you and never knew it. And he says, neither I'm me, nor you're you, nor you're me. Also I'm me, you are you, and you are me. And we have become one in such a way that I'm confused whether I'm you or you are me. He says again, a craftsman pulled a reed from the reed bed and cut holes in it and called it a human being. Since then, it has been wailing a tender agony of parting, never mentioning the skill that gave it life as a flute. The plight of human beings. We are in agony, in search of God, in search of that source of existence, in search of absolute love. Anything else is secondary, is commentary. Whether we call it God or religion or life and existence and humanity, without love everything disintegrates. And with love there is cohesion. And maybe that absolute love is what we call God. And he says, in your light, I learn how to love. In your beauty, how to make poems. You dance inside my chest, where no one sees you, but sometimes I do. And that sight becomes this art. So indeed, what is the purpose of life but love and connection to the entire human race? He says there is a way of breathing that is a shame and suffocation. And there's another way of expiring, a love breath that lets you open infinitely. So, in a sense, we are always in the process of dying and rebirth, death and life. So his story, Rumi's explanation of the story of evolution, is the most touching one. He says, I died as mineral and became plant. I died as plant and rose to animal. I died as animal and I was man. Why should I fear? When was I less by dying? Yet once more I should die as man to soar with angels blessed. But even from angelhood I must pass on. All except God doth perish. When I have sacrificed my angel soul, I shall become what no mind ever conceived. Oh, let me not exist, for non-existence proclaims in organ tones, to him we shall all return. And he says, in his search for God and his connecting to God, he says, I'm he whom I love, and he whom I love is I. If thou seest me, thou seest him, and if thou seest him, thou seest us both. There's a passage from Rumi that I really love, and he says, حاصل عمرم سه سخن بیش نیست، خام بودم، پخته شدم، سوختم. Which basically means the result of my life can be summarized in 3 words, or in 3 phrases. I was raw, I matured, and I was annihilated. Ultimately, then, it seems that the goal in life should be eliminating all veils between God and the individual, which would lead to the knowledge of reality. In that sense, we would be freed from the material world. And that duality and multiplicity would end in that ultimate connection and becoming one with the Master of the universe. And perhaps ultimately, the real self-knowledge can be summarized in the sense of asking, who am I? Where did I come from? Where am I going? What is the purpose of my life? What have I achieved in life? And where do I want to go from here? If that question is not asked, and if we don't find satisfactory answers for this question, the unhappiness and unsettlement and confusion for us and for the world will continue. We should always ask that question. And perhaps a barrier for all this is what we call ego. When we can control that ego and come face to face with it and fight it and become selfless and humble and a servant of society, our friends and strangers alike, then we have been able to deal with that ego. And so Rumi says, if you get rid of yourself just once, the secret of secrets would open to you. The face of the unknown, hidden behind the universe, would appear on the mirror of your perception. And then he says, you will not be a mystic until you're like the earth. Both the righteous and sinner tread upon it. And until you're like the clouds, they shade all things. And until you're like the rain, it waters all things, whether it loves them or not. This was from Bastami. And so this world can be heaven if we love one another and serve one another and become the instruments for one another's inner growth and salvation. And Bastami further says, for 30 years I sought God, but when I looked carefully, I found that in reality God For 30 years I sought God, but when I looked carefully I found that in reality God was the seeker and I the sought. saying from Prophet Muhammad that says there is a polish for everything that takes away rust. And the polish of the heart is zikr, that is invocation of God. The heart of the believer is sanctuary of God, and nothing but God is allowed access to it. Remembering God is the cure of the heart. Rumi says, since I heard of the world of love, I've spent my life, my heart, and my eyes this way. I used to think that love and beloved are different. I know they're the same now. And perhaps it is in that sense that when we live such a life, and then when we are ready to depart this planet, we leave with joy. And that was definitely the life of Rumi when he said toward the end of his life, when you see my funeral, don't say what a separation. It is time for me to visit and meet the beloved. Since you have seen my descent, then do see my rising. Why complain about the setting of the moon and the sun, which seed that went under the earth failed to grow up again? For my funeral, call the drummers, timbal beaters, and tambourine players, march toward my grave, dancing, thus happy, gay, intoxicated with hands clapping, so that people would know that the friends of God go happy and smiling toward the place of meeting. Perhaps it's a dream, but so beautiful the world will become if we people of the world from all faiths and from no faith at all, we come to the realization that we are all children of the same God, or children of the same source of goodness and energy. And we can promote the healing writings of people like Rumi, who says, what is to be done, O Muslims, for I do not recognize myself. I'm not of the east or of the west, nor of the land, nor of the sea. I'm not of nature's mint, nor of the circling heavens. I'm not of India, nor of China, nor of Bulgaria, nor of Samarkand. I'm not of the kingdom of Iraq, nor of the country of Khorasan. My place is the placeless. My trace is the traceless. It is neither body or soul, for I belong to the soul of the beloved. I have put duality aside. I have seen that the two worlds are one. One I seek, one I know, one I see, one I call. Our job really is to develop our children's potential. Deal with ego. Love one another, and love does not require control.